Hey guys, welcome to our weekly Friday video, and sometimes we have a bonus video on Tuesday, but today we are checking out an interesting LGA 1156 processor. It is the Xeon X3470, and if you're not familiar with Xeons, this is basically the Lynnfield Core i7-870. And unlike socket 775, no modifications are needed. This processor should work in most motherboards without any issues. This is a quad-core CPU from 2009 with a clock speed of 2.93 GHz. They are part of the first Intel processors featuring Turbo Boost, and this CPU will run at 3.2 GHz when all 4 or 3 cores are fully used. With lighter loads, it will do 3.46 GHz on 2 cores, and a single-threaded task will run at 3.6 GHz even. On AliExpress, you can get this processor for just under $40. We also have Intel hyperthreading, so with a total of 8 threads and Turbo Boost, this CPU should handle lightly and heavily threaded workloads without any issues. We will check out the performance in benchmarks and games, take a look at the prices on the market, and talk about value and if this processor is worth getting. I wanted to produce this video ages ago, but luck wasn't on my side and I had all sorts of issues with motherboards. To get good value, I initially bought one of these generic Chinese motherboards from AliExpress. I actually did a video on that. I will put a card on top of the screen. These are brand new and they do look quite nice, but they are not worth your money. The Turbo Boost function isn't working, so right away you're losing between 10 to 20% of performance depending on what you're doing. The PCI Express is only 8x instead of 16x. We only get fast Ethernet. The board also has a really weird layout. There's no easy way to do nice cable management. And with the X3470 CPU, yeah, I would get blue screens under heavy loads. So then I got this second-hand Gigabyte motherboard also off AliExpress. You're looking at only spending $10 extra to get a board from Asus or Gigabyte instead of one of these no-name Chinese models. And unfortunately, yeah, I was still unlucky. It turned out that the first DDR slot is faulty. One of the pins was burnt out and actually missing. So that meant I couldn't use dual channel memory, which means we're not getting the true performance, and also only up to 8 GB of DDR RAM. Otherwise, the board took the Xeon just fine, so that was a bit of a shame. So I got another motherboard. I spotted this one on eBay Australia. The price was good, so I grabbed it, and this motherboard worked perfectly fine. It's an Asus P7P55D-ELX. So this is a really nice full ATX motherboard. We're getting 4 RAM slots. This motherboard takes up to 32 GB of RAM, 6 SATA 2, as well as 2 additional SATA 3 ports, which is very nice to see. It has nice VRM cooling. We have a total of 8 USB ports at the back, 2 of which are USB 3.0, so that's very nice to see. There's a NEC controller for that function, and we also get an optical audio output. For cooling, I went with the Arctic Alpine 11, and this is rated at 95 watts, just like the processor, and it was enough to cool the processor, but I did see fairly high temperatures under Cinebench, getting up to 80 degrees. So to get around that problem a little bit, I went into the BIOS and did a slight under volting of the processor core, and that definitely made a difference. I saw around 10 watts less reading on the power meter, and in games we're getting some pretty decent temperatures. Be aware that in Australia it's hot now. We have 40-degree days, so yeah, it did a good job in cooling the processor in the end. And for RAM, we have a 16 GB kit of DDR3 memory. DDR3 prices are still pretty decent. You're looking at around $80 for such a kit, so that's definitely a lot less compared to DDR4 memory prices. The rest of the components for our system, we've got a Radeon RX 570, a 600-watt power supply, a SSD and a hard drive. And as always, I will have a look at links on AliExpress and put them down below in the description. And as always, if it has a BIOS, we're gonna flash it. So I grabbed the latest BIOS from the Asus website, put it on a USB flash drive, and off we go. And now it's time to run some benchmarks. So in this video, we're gonna compare this Xeon, which is the equivalent to the i7-870, with another Xeon, the i7-870. So if all this Xeon stuff confuses you, just think of the i7-870 going up against the Core 2 Quad Q9650. So in Cinebench, we're getting 500 points. So that's excellent, a huge improvement over the Socket 775 CPU. Let's have a look at power draw. So we can see that, yes, this machine is significantly faster, but at the expense of more power draw. But still, it's not gonna make a huge difference as long as you've got a fairly decent 450 watt power supply or better, you should be fine. And let's have a look at some 3D Mark results. So in CloudGate, we can see also a nice difference. In Skydiver, the gap narrows a little bit, but we're still on 4,000 points ahead. And in Firestrike, it's all about the video card. That's why we don't see a huge difference in that test. And now we're going to have a look at some games. As always, I will put the name of the game and the settings down below in the video.
So, a griffin this close to the village? Strange.
My thoughts exactly. In the forest or the mountains, sure, but here? Near the main road.
Maybe it's the war.
Show yourself!
Good job. Tac system back online. Proceed to the LZ.
Call the cops! I'm sorry. I won't do it again. No. Leave me alone!
Okay, this should work. All right.
This is Commander Rourke. I want the site secured ASAP.
Left 5, don't cut. Right 3, don't cut. Past junction 80. Left 5. Right 4 over crest. Keep left through dip. And right 2 through dip. Left 3, don't cut. 60. Left 6 over crest. Left 6 over bump. Right 3.
Enemies to the south.
Soldiers to the west.
Just kill yourself.
You lost your mind? Enemy located! Unman the machine gun! Fire! Fire! 1, 2, 3, 4! Enemy located!
Hang on, onion. I'm on my way.
Oh, fully charged? Fantastic.
Resource collected. Press tab to view your inventory and fleet status screen.
So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about the performance. I'm pretty impressed compared to LGA 775. It is definitely a step up. Firstly, we're getting a much higher IPC, also thanks to turbo boost, but because of hyper-threading, we are also a little bit more future-proof for some of the newer games. The Assassin's Creed game, finally we have a system where it actually works. It uses certain CPU instructions that the Core 2 range of processors don't have, so that was nice to see. And the game runs okay, it's not 60 FPS or anything like that, but at least it's playable. So as always, it comes down to price and value. With the motherboards, you're looking at around $50, but keep an eye out for specials on AliExpress. Sometimes they're doing 30% off, and then it's worth getting such a board. $50 is starting to get a little bit expensive, to be honest. The processor just under $40, and with the RAM for 8GB of DDR3 memory, a kit goes for around $40, a 16GB kit for around $80. The motherboard was a pleasure to work with. I didn't have any issues. The cooling after reducing the voltage a little bit also checked out fine, but if that's something you don't want to do, I do recommend getting a better cooler, something with a copper core or a tower cooler with heat pipes. These processors do seem to run a little bit on the hot side. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the performance. But what do you think, guys? Let me know down below in the comments. Another thing you can do with Socket 1156 is use it for retro PC gaming. It is fully compatible with Windows XP, and I had a look in the BIOS. You can switch off cores. If you want a single core processor running at 3.6 GHz, you can do that. If you want a dual core processor that runs at 3.47 GHz, you can also do that, and you will get really high IPC for high FPS Windows XP retro gaming if that is something you're interested in. So guys, there you have it. We had a look at the LGA 1156 and one of the Xeon processors, which is the equivalent to the i7-870, but to be had at a lower cost. So let me know what you think down below. I will see you next week with our weekly Friday video, but do keep an eye out for Tuesday. Sometimes there will be a bonus video. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Give it a like and click on the notification bell. And I shall see you soon with another one.